Hello, welcome to the human body. Please listen to this entire introduction because there is information you need to know all the way through to the end. My name is Dr. James Camp. You can call me Dr. Camp or Captain James, my old theater nickname, or even Coach, which my kids used to call me back when I coached their soccer teams. I'm not your typical biology professor. In fact, my academic background is in biomedical engineering. As such, I tend to see the body from a top-down, big-picture, systems and functions sort of approach. I hope that's a useful perspective for you as well. But you don't have to take my word for it. In this class, you will get to learn from two other excellent teachers, the well-regarded Essentials of A&P textbook by Martini and Bartholomew, and the equally well-regarded Crash Course A&P series by Hank Green. Between the three of us, you'll get a whirlwind tour of the human body, the building blocks that make it up, and the 11 systems that keep it running. So let's look at the schedule for this class. As you can see, by popular demand, I've spaced out the course a little bit more. I used to have things due every single day of the week. Now I have things due on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That gives you a little bit more flexibility with when you do things. You may still want to do some activities every single day, but this lets you let things slip if you need to. As you can see, some of the activities are textbook readings. Some are quizzes or activities from Mastering, the Pearson Mastering A&P resource that comes with the textbook or accompanies the textbook. And some are links to the Crash Course A&P videos we just talked about and quizzes on those videos. You can think of the Crash Course videos and quizzes as the lectures for the class and the mastering activities as your homework. What about the labs then? There are two kinds of lab activities also found on Blackboard. There are virtual anatomy labs in which you get to practice identifying anatomy models, and case studies in which you get to pretend to be a clinical worker who's trying to identify clinical situations. So let's take a look at our first lesson a little more closely here. From course content, which is where you kind of land on this class, you can go to Unit 1 and then Lesson 1.1, and you can see the first item here is instructions to read Chapter 1 and then take the Chapter 1 reading quiz over in the Mastering Homework tab. We'll visit that in a minute. What about this? Then there's a video link to the very first Crash Course A&P lecture on Intro to Anatomy and Physiology, followed by a Blackboard quiz on CCAP number 1. Okay, that quiz is your participation grade for watching the lecture. That doesn't mean it's an easy quiz. You do have to watch the lecture and take notes in order to pass the quiz. You do get 2 chances to take the quiz, so if you mangle it up the first time, you can learn from your mistakes and take it a second. Then there's a virtual anatomy lab. Okay, let's take a look at that. In the virtual anatomy lab, you see examples of anatomy models, and you're supposed to identify what's going on in each picture, what piece of each picture is being labeled. Also, yes, this is an anatomy class. You're going to see naked bodies. You may want to have your textbook open in a separate window while you're taking your virtual anatomy lab quizzes so that you can look up, okay, where the identified organs are. Then we see a case study. Let's look at that. In this case, you're supposed to identify a clinical image and figure out what plane of section it's taken from, and identify some things about the organs that are visible in that image. Again, it might be helpful to have your textbook open at the same time to help you find what you're looking for. Now, if you can't find what you're looking for in the textbook or even the crash course videos, which are short and sweet, so they don't cover absolutely everything, I have 3 extra bonus content here that I put at the end of these lesson folders. In this case, there's all 3. Not all lesson folders are going to have all 3 of these. But there's a PowerPoint that I used to use when I taught this class in person. There's a set of videos that I've recorded for videos of me giving the lectures that I used to give in person. So each of these lectures is a part of the whole story of the language of anatomy and the organization of the body, and you don't have to watch all of them. You can watch just the ones that you find help you understand what's going on, but these might help you with the virtual anatomy lab or the case study. And then finally, if you want to practice before you take your virtual anatomy lab, there's a body outline picture sheet and a body outline sticker sheet that you can download that have opportunities to label all of these different body regions that you're supposed to know. Okay, so that's what's in a typical lesson folder. Let's go look at mastering for a moment. The main thing you're going to find on mastering is a mastering assignments tab. This will take you to either a list of assignments or a calendar showing the arrangement of the assignments. You get to set that up yourself however you want to see it. The other really interesting thing here is the Pearson e-text, which will take you to through a series of little jump pages here. But eventually, you will get to our textbook. Here, it auto-jumped to the nervous system because that was the last thing I looked at, but you can get a full table of contents here and say we're interested in body regions and anatomical directions and body sections, the stuff that was on that anatomy lab quiz. You can see, oh, here's a good diagram that discusses all of those body regions. Okay. There's also a study area, which contains other interesting features of mastering. You can study by chapter. You can take practice tests and quizzes. The practice anatomy lab flashcards are very useful for people who are trying to learn their bones and muscles and some of the other little nitty-gritty details of anatomy that we have to learn in this class. Okay, so now I think you're ready to succeed in learning about the human body. Thanks for watching this intro video, and thanks for signing up for this class. I hope we do some good learning together. Until the next lesson, goodbye, good luck, and happy learning.